So, January 8th. My God, time goes quick already. So, a little bit of an update. We've finally fully moved into our new apartment. Finally got our desk sorted. Today, I'm going to take you a little bit through the professional side of what this, I guess, vlog, diary will do. So we're going to go through, first of all, the first subject, I think, it starts from Facebook ads. Getting leads in, getting people to notice your brand and sign up. That's where your first customers start from. So my main goal with setting up any company, especially one in sales, is to build a machine along the way and use leverage. By leverage, I mean employing people that are experts in doing every step of it, so you can eventually walk away and have it run it by itself and make you passive income. So the most important thing is I've done every role along that stage. So I've been involved heavily for years in Facebook marketing and lead gen. I do it now for a number of different investment and real estate companies. So I know what it takes to generate a good hook in this part of the world and to generate decent enough leads. The second part of it is being on the phone. So once a lead comes through, then how do we speak to that client on the phone? What sort of script do we use? So we're going to run through that. And then it needs to go to a salesperson. So what does a salesperson do? Where do they meet them? Do they meet them in an event? Do they meet them at their home? Do they meet them in a coffee shop? What is the process of that? Now, I've done and been fortunate enough, because I've been in this industry since I was about 16, 17, to have worked in every single part of it. I know what it takes to do every part, and we've built a business that has, although small in number, experts in every part of that field. So now I pretty much only get involved on a twice a week basis for a meeting, and obviously I'm there for support and try to add value wherever I can. But now it gives me time to do things like this vlog and increase my own personal brand in some way, shape or form. So first of all, we're going to go through today this kind of Facebook, what it looks like, what software do we use to create the ads, what do they look like, and then we're going to go through some real examples of what roughly cost per lead is here. So if you're thinking about moving over this way, or you've got any experience at all generating lead ads, what sort of cost will they be? So we're going to go through that. And then we're going to go through the kind of CRM system that we use that generates all the leads for us from Facebook, takes it straight from Facebook and puts it onto a CRM. Now, you don't need to be an expert these days to link all this up. So if you've never done it before, don't worry. There are places you can go and people you can hire that I can tell you that will do all this for you. Now, if you haven't got the funds to be able to pay these people, although it really costing very, very little, then you can do it yourself. It's not that difficult. You just need to be a little bit tech savvy. A lot of people in my industry tend to be 50 plus, and that's where my advantage comes in, because being in the investment game, especially international real estate, which I'm in, people don't tend to be, you know, my sort of age. I'm 36, but I got in the industry when I was, as I said, 16, 17. So that brings with it a more tech savvy head. Would probably consider myself sort of online, at least on all these software stuff that we use to help us, and AI to help us at every stage of the sale. I consider myself sort of jack of all trades, master of none. I don't need to master it, because if I just know a little bit about each part, I can put the right expert in place. So we're going to go through a little bit about what this looks like. I'm going to show you on the screen some live examples of costing and ads, etc., so you can see what we do. So first of all, where does it all start? Now, we start things using Canva. Canva's a very good, easy to use, and it's getting even better every time I use it now with the AI Dream Lab. But what basically this does is it gives you a load of templates, and you can just change information in it to create your ad. Now, experimentation is key. What you've got to do is, if you're selling something, I'm going to put this all into perspective of international real estate, right? Because that's what I know. But if you have your own sort of company, you can identify what is going to attract people the most just by finding your hook. So we go in here, we go real estate ad, templates here that you can use. Yeah, you just change the information in it, and it's very, very easy. So if you're a real estate agent, for instance, this is more like an investment ad, this one, but you can customize it, and here you go. You want to change the price, you just click there and you change the price. Change the ad, change the images. It's very easy. You click on that, you just drag and drop the image into your upload section over here, upload files, and you can upload whatever image you want straight to there, and it will appear. Now, it's a bit of sort of, you've got to play test this a while to get used to how it works, and a lot of these over here, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You've just got to use it. Now, it's got a lot of free elements as well up here. So I can type in, if my property was in London, for instance, and go here to photos, and I can just drag in the photo that I want from London. I can drag in this one of the house. So that's the benefit of using Canva. It's pretty easy to do. So that's the first stage, is designing it in Canva. So once you've set up your ad on Canva, you're then going to want to create yourself a Facebook ad account. Now, it's very tiresome sometimes to create a new ad account. I would recommend definitely this is the part you outsource and find someone else to do. I've always done this because doing it yourself is literally trial and error. To create a new Facebook ad account, this is roughly what you need, yeah? Now you have to check it based on what country you're in, but you're gonna need the full business registration details to verify your account. So you click on create new ad account within Facebook Ad Manager. Then you're gonna wanna create your own ad account and it definitely get yourself verified, which means you've got to upload your business registration documents, etc. And that process might take up to 7 days for them to come back and verify you. Now that basically enables you to start adding a card to the account and spending on your actual page, which you'll create. So the Facebook ad account needs to be under a personal individual Facebook account, which I find very frustrating, especially when you're a marketing manager or you do ads for multiple different companies. A lot of them don't want it under their personal account, so they end up putting it under yours. And you have a list of about 8 or 9 different companies under your account, which can get really tiresome. However, if you're doing this just for your company, I'm sure it's fine. You're the only one that's going to want access to it, so don't worry about anything further than that. But once you've created your ad account and it's all up and running, you've connected your card, then you're going to have a system where you're going to go to the ad manager. Now don't use any other system. Boosting ads is crap. You need to go to the ad manager section of Facebook. Only create an ad in there. And we only create 2 types of leads, forms or ads, I guess. One is lead ads. These are the ads that people click on, they put in their name, answer a couple of questions, put their email and phone number in, and then they get sent to our CRM system, which I'll show you later. So that's the first one. The other one is Messenger or WhatsApp. So they click on the ad and then they can message us and engage with us and speak to us. So those are the only 2 ads we do. Everything else, awareness ads, website traffic ads, I wouldn't focus on that to begin with. These are more on branding and take a long time to convert and are way more expensive because you're pushing someone off the Facebook platform to your website or third party. This stuff, again, gets a lot less traction. People just want it quick, register quickly, and then move on. So those are the type of ads that we're going to see. When you start creating your ad, you're just going to have something that looks a little bit like this. And you're going to want to click inside. When you create a new one, you'll see these 3 things pop up here. Now what I'd firstly do is on your left-hand one up here, change its name, something that is memorable for your ad. Yeah, you click on there, change it to something memorable because these can easily get very confusing. Click on the second one quickly, change it to the same name, and then the third one, I change it to the same name as well. Now, let me just identify these 3 categories, what they mean, because it can be quite confusing initially. This one I put down as this is the one where you set your category of ads. So lead type ad, it's a lead ad here. Once you created it, you can't change it. And I would turn this one off for my industry in this one, so you manually do it yourself. Turn the Advantage campaign off. Now, this might look differently depending on when you're viewing this video, because Facebook are always changing their system. It gets quite annoying, and I think they do it on purpose to make your ads fail, so you're spending more money and keep having to spend more money. But there you go. The second one, this one is where you put your budget. You put your budget on here, so you put here, you can see RM 200 a day. That's you set your start date, and if you want an end date, you could put this there as well. This one's got 15th of March. Yeah, we run that for 3 months. Then the audience. Now this is the most important part. Now I like to target my audience. Now in this country that I'm in, you can target only based on interest. You can't target based upon certain metrics. Now you've got to check what country you're in and what you target, but you're basically looking for the location. You can see here, I set mine within 40 kilometers of where my office is, because this product that we're selling, we know we need to meet people. We can't sell this product over the phone. So it needs to be location specific. So this ad will only show to people within 40 kilometers of where we are. Now that could mean it's shown to people that fly in, tourists as well. In some countries, you can target people that live in this area, which is even better to make sure you're getting locals. Age range, we know for investments, it's 40 people, normally 40 plus. So we don't let people register. They won't even see the ad if you're below 40. Now, the interest that we target is literally anything we think the typical demographic of a client would be interested in. So property, investment, stocks, shares, golf, high value goods. The 2 ones that really changed things for us were the behaviors here. You can't really see this, but I'm going to say it to you. Put in engaged shoppers. This will put people that are more likely to click on your ad will click on the ad. And then we've put people in Malaysia who prefer high value goods. This is another one to do. So this will be different on what target country you're choosing, but we choose people in Malaysia who prefer high value goods. It might be people in the UK who prefer high value goods, or people in the US who prefer high value goods. But make sure them two are activated. You'll see a big change in your ads. Now I turn off all the other stuff. So the music, the text, AI stuff, I turn that off because it can change the way your ad looks, and if you spend time designing your ad, you don't want AI to come in and change it. Placements, I put manual. I don't put it on audience network. I only put it on feeds, and I only put it on stories. They're your main ones, right? The others are just wasting your money. So just put it on stories and feeds, and it will give you how many leads you should be expecting per day from this. Now, in my experience, this is roughly correct. The issue is maintaining this amount, because normally after about a week or two, you start to see diminishing returns, but it really depends on the algorithm and how many ads you've got running. Some ads we've done for a month or to 6 weeks and it's still generating in between this amount. Other ads will perform way worse. It really depends on your offer and call to action. The better your call to action is and the more free stuff you're giving away in the hook, the easier people will obviously register. But it's a constant battle between quality of lead and quantity of lead that you're gonna find is your biggest battle that you've got to get through. What do you want? Do you want to cast a wide net and have less quality, or cast a very niche one? You'll pay more, but the leads will be better. Now the third one here is your ad itself. So this is where you'll be choosing, do you want an image or video? You'll be customizing what is said in the advert itself on the primary text, the heading, and then the call to action. So you can choose between sign up, book now, membership, etc. And then you choose your form. So your Facebook form is when people click on your ad, what information do you ask, what text do they see, and if they see a confirmation screen. I'd recommend in this one, if you work in this industry, to make sure you include higher intent review screen, because that means that people just can't click and it auto fills the information in and then they click away. This results in 80% of your leads being uncontactable, or they just don't remember. So if they have a review screen, it tells them, look, you've submitted this information, are you sure you want to proceed? And with that, gives you literally 4 or 5 times better leads. So use that to your advantage, and that really changed things for us if you're having a bad quality. So that's it for the Facebook side of things. Once that's all set up, you click publish and you're ready to go. Now connecting that to Facebook, to your CRM system will be dependent on what CRM you use. We use HubSpot. I don't really recommend this anymore because they've just changed their price last year, going from free to I think $30 a month per user, which is a bit strange. Bear in mind, we don't really use a system for anything other than updating contacts, which should be a free service, but there you go. We might be changing that in the future. But you can see here, if I just remove these X's, remember to do that. If you go from here to maximum, this will tell you your results. So you can see here roughly our results, yeah? So you can see here the results, 18 on this campaign, 82 on the next one. Let me zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So you've got, on these campaigns, you've got 82, and that was 76 ringgit a lead. That's very expensive, this campaign. We turned that off after a while. Now, go from everything, this new one we've got here is 17 ringgit a lead. It's pretty good, but it's only just started, yeah? In my experience in Malaysia, with selling overseas property and generating leads for it, you're roughly going to be doing between 15 ringgit and 35 ringgit a lead. For the conversion rate on that, you're probably looking at anywhere between £2.50, £3, right up to about £6-7 a lead. That's roughly what you're going to be paying. Now, if you're a marketing whiz and you can create a great call to action, that's great. You'll get cheaper, but you're probably casting a wider net. Our net is quite niche. We ask a number of questions on the back end to our campaign to make sure that we prefer quality over quantity, because, as I said, we're not a massive team and we want to make sure that our time is spent more wisely. But if you're first starting out, you probably want to make the mistakes first and cast a wider net and speak to as many people as possible so you can train and learn. And at least you can do that then with a lower cost per lead, so you're not wasting as much money, if that makes sense. So once that's here, you then connect it to your HubSpot system. Now, I can't show you our CRM because it's got sensitive data of customers on it, which is just up here on the other tab. But there's a way you can link these two together. HubSpot does give you a way in which you can monitor leads. It's just literally came in directly. Here they are. You click on here and you click view results, and then they'll come up all the information on the leads that have clicked. But it's very difficult to leave comments on them. So I like to connect it to my own system. Now Facebook, you've got to connect it via Zapier. Think of Zapier as a software that basically takes your information from your contacts that put in their phone number, their email, and their name. It creates a new contact in your CRM for you automatically the second after they register. So it makes it easy for your CRM. Now Facebook should do this automatically, but it doesn't like you're working with third parties. Now this is another step. If you're not IT savvy, you're going to have to find someone to do this for you. But it's basically, I'll show you how our one works here. So it's basically, just so you can see the mentality of it, it takes leads from Facebook and then it creates a new one in HubSpot, and that's all it does. But the steps to do this can be quite complicated. So I'd also hire someone to do this for you if you can, if you're not used to it. There are YouTube guides that guide you through it, but depending on what CRM system you're using, it can be complicated or easy. So I'm not going to go through that. But HubSpot is relatively easy, but it will depend on what you're using. Now, you're also able to export your leads into a spreadsheet file every day if you want to. However, that's monotonous, because if you do that, you're not going to do that, download all the leads every time someone registers. So what that creates is you end up only doing it once a day, and then you're not contacting the leads quick enough. You need to be contacting these leads ideally within an hour of them registering or sooner. Every hour that goes by, you're reducing the chance that they're going to pick up. So ideally, I want to be calling them within 20 minutes of them registering. We have a 15-minute window on about 90% of our leads during working hours, because then they're probably still thinking about us or on our website when we call them. So contact rate's very, very important. If you leave it a day to contact a client, your contact rate's about 50%. That's not unnormal, yeah? So when you start Facebook ads, don't think you're going to be contacting everybody. Some people that you speak to will give you all kinds of excuses. So moving on to expectations of Facebook leads when you call them. So set yourself some expectations so you're not disappointed and you don't get demoralized when you're doing your first Facebook campaign, especially in this industry. Because if you're calling multiple leads per day, let's face it, it's already a tough job. Now, luckily, you're not cold calling, which a lot of people in this industry have done for many, many years. However, you're calling warm leads, you need to understand that 50% of these people probably won't pick up, especially if you're leaving it up to 24 hours to contact them. Now you can reduce that, you can get that up to maybe 75, 80% if you call them within 15, 20 minutes, which is definitely worth doing. Now you can only do that if you have a CRM system. That's why we use one. If you're still using spreadsheets, you need to get on a CRM system to increase your efficiency by up to 25, 30, 35%. Now, you're still going to get around about 10% of leads that say they didn't register. The reason for this is probably their wife did it or someone else did it, or they just wasn't expecting a phone call. A lot of these people will click on it and be too shy to speak to you. So then what do? They just forget or tell you that they didn't register so they can get you quickly off the phone. Now, when it goes to this stage, when you're calling them, the next step then is to speak to them on the phone, and we know what they're going to say. So you set up your objection handling when you handle your product first phone call. The first phone call is not to sell the product for us, it's to set a meeting. So all we're doing is creating enough interest and mystery to set the meeting. So the first phone call we do with them is done by our telesales expert. Now, he has a script in front of him at all times. He's been calling for 20 years, but he still has a script in front of him, so he knows where to go. So that's the first thing I'd always do. Have it in front of you so you know where to go, because it's very easy to get lost on a call. So it's introduce yourself and your company name. Hi, this is Dean calling from Parklands Property Group. You registered at this time, this day, on a Facebook ad detailing blah, blah, blah. For us, it's London property. So what does that do? That tells them that you know what time, what date they registered. You've given them a hint about what it is. Now, most people will say, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember doing that. And then they'll let you continue, or they'll say they're busy. It makes it difficult for them to say, oh, I didn't register. So you're weaseling out the 10% of people that don't like to speak to people. Now they have to, because they know what date and time that you've registered, yeah? So that stops them from being able to come back to you with anything. Now, the next bit after that is you're just basically trying to enlighten them a bit more about your product, but not tell them too much, because if you say too much, as you well know, people just exclude themselves pretty much quickly. So let's use it in my example. If I'm selling London property, for instance, then someone registers for it and it's £1 million. They didn't see the price. They can afford it, but they didn't see the price. Now, if I tell them too much about London and about the price, they might exclude themselves out once they hear the price. Now, that might be a good investment for them to make. They just haven't heard the other pros and cons of it yet. So I don't want to say too much about your product. You don't sell. All you're doing is creating enough mystery and telling them how you've helped other people in their exact situation, and that it's worth 30 minutes of their time to meet up with our expert sales team. So I'm selling the sales guy here. So once I've got through the first bit and I've established that they've registered, I then go into, listen, it's a great time you've called, I establish urgency. So I say things along the lines of, you've registered just in the right time because we're just about to sell out of this project, and you could create urgency based upon scarcity of product, or you can create urgency based upon time frame of discount if you're offering one. It's a good way to get people to act now. Because what we're doing as sales professionals is a lot of people aren't making the right decision for their funds. A lot of them are keeping money in the bank when they shouldn't be. If you're keeping money in the bank, essentially in our industry, with inflation, you're losing money. So a lot of these people and investors you'll be speaking to, they're in this position because they've got funds in the bank and they're not making affirmative action to invest it. Now, property investing is the most safest investment you can make, because after 5-10 years, no property in the world is worth less than what it was at the start, normally. So it's our job to create urgency enough so they can meet our people, so they can get in front of them and they can get all the facts and figures, so then they can make their informed decision as if it's for them or not. So that first phone call, that's what it's about. Think about creating urgency, think about creating a little bit of mystery with your product. So R1, we have a number of different products. We have one particular product that is priced a lot below what people think a digital property is worth. But the hook on that is it might take 3 or 4 years for that investment to come to fruition. So for instance, we might say something along the lines of, well, have you heard of a program where you can invest this much money rather than this? You've got to wait a few years, but have you ever considered doing that before? You could say we've helped 500 now odd Malaysian investors to buy property abroad. A lot of them think it's scary. A lot of them don't know much about overseas markets. They don't have any insight or knowledge as to how to do so. But if you do it, you can make 3 times more money than you can in Malaysia. Does that sound like something of interest to you? These things create mystery, create urgency, but you've got to find your hook. Now, once you've done that, you go into setting the meeting. Now, we prefer to meet people in their homes, so we say something along the lines of, listen, most of our investors are private people. We're discussing finances here, so they prefer not to do it in a coffee house or a hotel. They prefer to do it in their home. And because they're in their home, they can also show their partner the same information as them, because let's face it, if you're married, you're doing it together. So why not get the information together? This stops the objection at the end of every meeting you get with, I need to speak to the wife, I need to speak to the spouse, I need to speak to the husband, I need to speak to the business partner. That stops that from happening if you do it in the house. You're saving time for your investors, you're saving time for yourself. So that's what we say. We try to get it in the house first of all. Now, after that first phone call is done, we then, within 24 hours, assign it to a salesperson and they do a confirmation call. They introduce themselves. Hello, our guy's called Nigel. This is Nigel calling from Parkless Property Group. You've been assigned to me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me just for a couple of minutes so you know who you're meeting, and they excite them about the product on the phone. They've got 2 or 3 things which they say which excites the client. This could be, we've only got a few units left, so I'm really glad to be meeting you. Or there's only one more discount I can give. Great time to meet you. Or a news article about the country you're buying in. It's great, it's the best time to invest ever. So it's perfect timing. Things like this to get them excited, to make sure that if they're thinking about cancelling that meeting or putting any other meeting on top of your meeting, then they're going to think twice about doing that, because you've made yourself sound different and because now they've got a reason to do it. So that's what the confirmation call is for. When we did that, that increased productivity and show rate by about 50%. Now, your show rate on these meetings will tend to differ between sort of 50 to 60% show rate will be average. If you do the confirmation call, you're going to get about 75, 80. So again, do a confirmation call before. Now, most of our meetings are set 2 or 3 days in advance, so we can do that confirmation call the next day. So that's how we get from Facebook ad to meeting. Now, when you meet the client, it's purely dependent on the skill level of the agent and your product. So that we really can't go out. It can't go over. But we will have examples later on in this series of field sales. We have examples of warm-up. The most important part of any sales is the warm-up, how well you get on with the client and how well you can identify their needs and if your product even suits them. So we're going to go through that in a later video. So that will cover it today. I don't want to say too much more. It just really meant as a summary for specifically my industry. And then hopefully you've learned how to potentially extrapolate that, use at least some of them tips in your own business.